So good question. I think the most important thing is customer service at the moment. I think the changes now are real-time information, open data, people wanting things as a service, wanting things to suit, and it's not a case of taking transport because it's a necessity. It's a case of actually wanting to do that because it betters the journey, betters the experience. Having real-time information is actually knowing it could be quicker, and it's possibly quicker to use transport than it is to use to actually use your own private cars or whatever it may be. That's one of the factors. I think also transport as a general is starting to become more, because it's as a service, there's going to be the future. I think it's going to have things like reward schemes for using transport, like you'll have links to coffee shops and things like that, or start giving incentives to do things. I think that's more what's going to be around the mobile wallet and those types of things within transport. So, and that's very different to how it used to be, where it was literally run as it was, and if you're lucky, you knew when your bus was coming. Whereas today, you've actually got proper information displays with digital timing. It's real time, everything's right now, and I think that's the main differentiator between it. I think a lot of the systems still being used need to be refreshed, need newer technology potentially. I would suggest that we still have big problems around way management, so traffic jams as a prime example is one of the issues. Another big factor is, of course, how we're driving people back onto transport, how are we getting people to be more active, because people went through a long period of, obviously, unfortunately, we had the stage of being at home and doing things. So where's the incentivization to actually come back and start doing and getting on the buses? So how do you schedule for that? Not knowing whether you're going to have peaks in the weekends or that. And I think everyone's starting getting used to what the new world is. I think that's the difference, whereas we're seeing right now that trains, buses and everything are really busy on the weekends when they never used to be, and then you've got which days are more busy, and then how do you start scheduling for those types of things. The other factor is obviously, I use buses as a prime example, just finding drivers, just finding people. That's probably the hardest thing that everyone's got right now. That's probably one of the biggest problems. So NEC's smart transports across everything. So we think about operational intelligence. So that's everything from your tracking of your buses to your driving performance with safety and security within it. You've also got your data integration. So we have a number of products that actually do all of these types of things. So real-time information, using your data, putting that out to whether it's a mobile app or whatever it is to give you real-time information when you want to travel, or if we're talking about tracking your buses, your trains, whatever it is. So you're scheduling and sending that information to your passenger information display systems. Also the actual tracking from a scheduling perspective. So looking and seeing if there's a traffic, if there's an accident, something that's happened. So it's all being reported back in real time. So actually people can start scheduling and figuring out how to work that. We also do a lot of stuff with quantum. So we're looking at the next stage of computational, instead of just pure classical algorithms, we're looking at the next stage of how we can start doing things. So whether that's around EV charging or whether that's around dynamic scheduling, those types of things. Also, you've got to think about the context of how can we make life easier for people? So facial recognition could be a prime example. So if you think about how did Siri start? Siri started from Apple wanting just to enable people who couldn't use a phone to be able to use a phone, and now everyone uses that. And I think that's the difference of what we're thinking about. We think about the technology that's taking it next. So we use facial recognition, for example, for people who find it more difficult to get onto public transport. So we can use facial recognitions, or a mother's got their hands on the children, doesn't want to let go to go and tap on or do something. How can we make life easier for them? Or even tracking your children at stations or whatever it may be, just a safety and security piece. So I think customer experience, think safety, and if we can link that together, I think that's really what NEC is trying to do. And then when we see that it's happening for the operators or the authorities, then the general public's like, well, hold on a minute, why am I not using that? And I think that's going to be the evolution of what's actually coming. So I think there's a difference of the people, the audience you meet. So you meet different people who've got different thoughts. So a lot of times when you're just doing standard business to business, you're having the same ideas with the same conversations around it, where a lot of thoughts of other things or conversations lead to things that maybe you haven't thought of. So new ideas come out, new other things. You're also reaching a bigger audience. And the other partners that you chat to as well. So it's always good to chat with other partners and see what they're doing and having conversations around those types of things. So sometimes you get really siloed in what you're doing day in, day out. So it's just good to broaden the mind, expand the horizons a bit.